Hello, and welcome to episode 74 of the Book Wars Pod. I'm Kristen. I am here with Kate and Chris, and it's the middle of the day. So, it's noon here when we're recording, so I'm sure this is going to be a really weird episode. I have holed
on a Saturday.
I have holed myself in my bedroom because everyone is home. So, there's activity.
Great.
Speaking of it being in the middle of the afternoon, what are you guys drinking?
I am drinking two things. One, blackberry black tea from Stash Teas, which is local to you, Kristen.
Yeah, I love Stash. They're Portland boys.
Mm-hmm.
They are great. We usually have Capital Teas, but Capital Teas got bought, and now they're more expensive. So.
Yeah. So, fuck capitalism.
Yeah, it checks
Fuck
out.
you, capitalism.
More like capitalism teas, am I right?
Oh, good one, Dad. Not a good one.
Thanks, Tristan.
Terrible one.
Awful.
What what else are you drinking besides the capitalism tea?
Oh, I am also out of tradition, even though it's 3:00 in the afternoon, I am in fact drinking some bourbon. I don't think I've ever had this on this pod in the past, but I'm having 1-8 Distilling, which is a local distillery in DC. I'm having their Untitled Whiskey number 13, which they do in addition to their brand name whiskeys, they do experimental ones. And so this one is delicious. It is a 10-year-old high rye bourbon that was rested in a combination of cognac, Spanish brandy, and different sherry barrels.
Shit.
And the results, per the tasting notes that it came with, the nose on this whiskey is bright and fresh, reminiscent of expressed grapefruit peel and maple sap. The palate starts with candied orange peel before richer, fruitier notes of blackberry jam and maraschino cherries appear. The finish stays on the tongue long after swallowing, with hints of chestnut honey and tiramisu.
Ooh.
So there's a lot. There's a lot happening in this whiskey, but it's usually I can taste usually all that's bullshit, and the normal person can only taste one flavor unless it's super super high quality. But this is actually really good, and you can get most of those flavors.
I was about to say, see, I don't have a refined palate, so shit just still tastes like butts to me.
That's okay.
It's fine.
I don't have a refined enough palate to pick it out, but if I'm told what to look for, I can find it.
You also can't smell anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is weird that I can taste things better.
That's my issue too, Chris, is I don't have a good nose. So, and that's my sister has an insane palate, and it's just because she has really, really good nose.
Mm-hmm.
And I want that, but it's probably, I don't know. Do you have a deviated septum? I'm sure we both do.
Yes.
Yes, I do.
with our CPAP life.
It's my favorite thing ever.
What are you drinking, Mom? That sounds delicious, Chris. I would like to have some of that. Also, I like how we both have numbered alcohol on the show.
I love it.
Wonderful. I'm also having some tea because it is 3 in the afternoon, so of course I haven't woken up yet, so now I'm just cranky. I'm trying to caffeinate. The other thing I'm having is very fancy. It's La Finca Malbec from Trader Joe's, which I'm drinking straight out of the bottle.
Just drinking wine, even though you... I love you so much, Kate.
I'm pretty sure I sent a video to you last night of me just drinking wine out of the bottle.
You did. Is it the same wine?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
it looked good.
I've been working on it.
You were super coherent.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
That's so nice.
There was no slurring whatsoever. I was like, man, Kate seems sober to be drinking wine out of the bottle, but...
Yeah, I was actually quite sober last night for drinking wine out of the bottle.
It seemed like it.
I've been eating pasta for dinner this week. I think it's just been...
Nice.
Helping me out with the not being drunk.
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes on this podcast, though. I don't know.
You get a good base.
Yes, precisely. We'll see how it goes today, though.
I too have a strange array of things because it's almost 12:30 here. So I'm drinking cold brew coffee, which I've been making, and it's delicious because it has less acid in it, so it does less to destroy my stomach. But my useless parents sent me some coffee from Costa Rica, so that's what we've been using to brew our cold brew until it's gone, and it's very good.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
They did
I
something.
mean,
That was nice.
they did not get me whole bean for some reason, even though I just need to not be picky. I just need to, it doesn't matter. But
It's all about lowering your expectations,
I
Kristen.
know. But it's called Coffee 1820 Puro Cafe. I don't know Spanish, but it's 500 grams in this bag. And cafe1820.com, which is I think when this particular brand started in Costa Rica or when Costa Rica as a country started putting coffee out. It was unclear from the English translation on the bag.
Or both.
Or both, sure.
I realize that this is a real thing, but you're saying it and I'm just thinking of Entertainment 720.
I know.
And yeah, that's what's in my head right now. So
Coffee 1820, I know. But there
your coffee is shouting at me in Aziz Ansari's voice.
yeah, that checks out. And then I also have some
Parks and Rec.
Oh.
yes. I also
I have controversial opinions about Parks and Rec. Sorry, go on.
you're allowed to have whatever opinions you want, Kate, as you know. I'm also having sparkling water, and I got a Rainier out. I haven't opened it yet. I guess I'm gonna open it now. And I believe I'm using some kind of koozie from a wedding I didn't go to. I assume this is from Miranda. Someone named Colleen and Connor apparently got married in December of 2017. So, congrats to them. I'm sure they're big fans. And I'm drinking Rainier beer. Good as ever. It's the middle of the fucking day. I need to not be drinking, but it's noon. So here we are, and we're doing a podcast.
Hell yeah.
Great. Speaking of podcasting, we read chapters 7 through 13 of Thrawn Alliances, which is the
Correct.
second book in the Thrawn series of books.
Correct.
Yes.
Great. That's what we did.
Everything you just said is true, Kristen.
That's what-
Chris, way to, by the way, put that on the outline like we usually do, except you didn't do that.
Oh, I mean, it's...
I know it's in the title, but we always put it here with the author and everything, and this is...
Yeah.
Oh, do we? Sorry.
Yeah, you fucked it up.
Oh, well.
It's making me uncomfortable.
I mean,
I think
there are 3 people who had access to this outline.
I was sleepy.
I'm not allowed to put the outlines together.
That's true.
Also, I think
Totally true.
that's like an arbitrary me thing that I was like, can you please put the chapters and the episodes in the actual body, because I keep forgetting to look at the title. So I need training wheels on all things to make sure I don't fuck up, and then I still fuck up anyway, so it's fine.
Oh, please. Come on, baby.
Podcasting is hard. Reading is hard for me.
But also delightful.
I know, I love it. Okay, so like this was very plot heavy. There was a lot of shit going on. I didn't totally follow it, as I told Kate and Chris before, as I warned Kate and Chris before this podcast. So they were gonna
Yes.
have to help me with some plot stuff.
Yes.
And
That
I
is
think it's
fine.
because I spaced out when I was listening to the audiobook. So like I listened to the audiobook for like the first half of this and then read the second half, and I seemed to get it a lot better, which is no fault of the audiobook. I'm pretty sure it was me. But
Yeah, this is also why I can't listen to audiobooks, because I have, like, not a great attention span when it comes to listening, as Chris knows. So I'm just like,
Sitting here literally sipping my tea.
wow.
It's fine.
Just fuck you, man. Can you please
do not
stop?
white man sip
people
into the white people slurping.
Sipping my tea.
You are white people slurping into the microphone. Guys, the funniest thing over Thanksgiving was that so Chris's parents came to spend Thanksgiving with us, and so we cooked dinner and it was great and stuff. Like it was genuinely a good time, but after dinner we're like, "Oh, does anybody want tea or coffee?" So we made them some tea, and I was surrounded by Seadors, fucking white people slurping their tea. It was like a
It
nightmare.
was a symphony of white people slurping.
It was actually horrible. But yeah, anyway, I've got a horrible auditory attention span. Maybe it's because I'm surrounded by white people slurping, and I've just decided to filter out literally any sound you make, Chris.
Okay,
I mean,
that's fair.
would track.
Oh, and yeah, I don't know. I always always try to go back to audiobooks and give them another shot because like I listen to podcasts constantly and I'm good at podcasts, I think, but I don't know. I think like
So
maybe I miss more in podcasts than I think I do.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna say. Because I also can't do audiobooks, and I have been bad about listening to them lately. But generally, listen to more podcasts. Are you okay? Can I help you?
Hang on, I got it. There it is.
So we have the dulcet tones of me slurping into the mic, and then also Kate struggling with the like cork on the wine.
I definitely just spilled beer into my coffee cup, so we also have that.
Great, so we're all doing great.
We're all doing a situation
everyone's
normal.
Fine here.
Situation.
How are you?
Situation, normal, boring conversation anyway.
Anyway, what I was saying though is
Sorry.
because I'm very much the same way where I don't love listening to audiobooks. I can't basically I need to be in a car if I'm going to be listening to an audiobook. Because I think that is it. I think like with podcasts you can, since it's a live medium and people repeat themselves just like naturally, like you can miss more of it without missing anything.
Right, like you can just not listen to 15-minute whole chunks of this particular podcast and not miss anything of substance.
I mean, you could not listen to this podcast at all and not miss anything of substance, but that's a different story.
Don't tell people that up front.
But with books, like you said, like I'm pro audiobook in general. I think it's a great, like I'm pro making books more accessible, but it's also undeniable that books are written media first, and so like they are meant to be read, and so like there will be small details that you are supposed to pick up because you are reading every word,
Yeah.
and so that doesn't always translate well.
Or
Also, but I
not
feel
necessarily meant to be read. I feel like that's ableisty.
They are
They are
generally constructed with reading in mind as
Yes.
the primary
Thank you.
intake.
Sorry.
No, that was it.
No, that's fine. And also I'm like looking back and like listening back and like that sounded like I was being kind of snarky about it. I was not. I am pro audiobook.
Yeah, no. I also feel like if you're consuming enough audiobooks, like your brain, fixes itself so that it can be able to listen. But I mean,
Well,
if you are not naturally like attuned to audiobooks, it can be hard to start, and then you get frustrated, and so you just don't
totally.
do the thing.
Totally. And I know audiobooks work really well for some people. Like they're like, "Oh, I tried
yeah.
to get through that and I couldn't do it until I listened to the audiobook." And I'm like, "Yeah, I mean, I think it's just different things work for different people." And I think all three
for
of us
sure.
are very like booky, wordy people.
Yeah, I'm a very visual person.
Yeah,
so.
same. Okay, now that we've spent 15 minutes talking about things that are not directly related to the book that we're discussing, see that?
I mean, the usual.
I know. At least that last part was like a little bit nuanced and not about poop, unlike last episode.
No poop.
I hate you. I hate both of you. Should we talk? I don't know. Does anybody want to give like a short overview of all the shit that happened so that people who are listening who maybe didn't follow it and me can have a better idea of what happened? I'm putting you on the spot, but
Yeah, sure.
I mean, you're not really putting me on the spot. He's read this book twice.
okay,
Yeah, this
cool.
is my second time reading the book, and it is still it's still tricky. Yes.
I'm wondering if we should actually talk about writing style a little bit now, because
Okay,
I think
we
that's
can do
kind of
that.
what makes it hard to follow
Yeah, let's
for some people anyway.
let's talk about that now, and let's push this to next episode
Yeah,
because there's going to be more of it.
yeah, okay.
Anyway, so yeah, let's talk about writing style because I this is the second time I've read this book and I really like this book, but even second time through, I am going through very carefully because I think one thing that is very evident with the way that Zahn writes this book is that it is not always clear if you're missing something because it hasn't happened yet, or if you're missing something because you missed it. You know? Like, I feel like there's a lot of details where it's like, I don't know what's going on, and like, is that because nobody knows what's going on, or is that because like it was mentioned before and I didn't follow it?
Right. So do you want to just give a quick plot overview of what's going on in both timelines, like a quick 2 sentences for each?
Thank
and then
you.
we can-
That
Yeah.
was a very succinct and helpful way to describe exactly how I felt reading this section.
Yes. Let's do the past timeline first.
Yeah.
Thrawn and Anakin discovered that there is a separatist factory on Mokiv. They followed Padme there because Duja had originally discovered it. That's what she died finding out.
Rest in peace.
Padme crash landed there with the help of some locals, snuck her way into the factory. Anakin and Thrawn landed at the factory due to some absolutely fantastic Anakin bullshit, found themselves imprisoned in the basement.
Just
That's
the
what it is.
most Anakin fucking bullshit.
So the Anakin bit happened in chapter 10, and I texted Keeks and I was just like, have you read this yet? Because you're going to die.
It was fucking funny. Also, I'm just gonna say, Padme got to where Padme was through some absolute Padme bullshit as well. Fucking.
Oh, we're definitely going to talk about that for sure, no
good.
question.
If we're
So
talking
good.
about characters doing their TM trademark signature bullshit, Padme was also just like, I'm just gonna like bob in this river for a while and like hope no one notices me. Is that cool? Great. Fucking A.
So good.
So that's the past timeline. Present timeline, and the present timeline is much more convoluted right now because that's where like the mystery is. Like the past timeline, it's just that shit hasn't happened yet. But like the present timeline, things are actively being figured out and they know that there's a mystery to solve, so that's the issue. And so we discovered, I think it was this week, that the disturbance in the Force is due to some sort of Force-sensitive beings that are being held hostage by a race called the Grisks.
Yep.
They were on Batuu as some sort of like just shipping waypoint, essentially. For lack of a better term. That's where they were sensed. When Thrawn and Vader came, they quickly moved them off Batuu and ran away. Thrawn thinks they ran away to Mokiv. Meanwhile, the Grisks were an initial ship of them were captured above Batuu. A second ship of them were captured back in the hyperspace lane that they had originally blocked through some clever science that we don't need to get into.
That was also confusing, but
I mean, I can go into it.
no,
after we, like,
I
do
get
the-
it. I think I get it. I'm just like, when I was reading it, I was like, this is making my brain hurt. I don't know enough about Star Wars space physics for this.
Fair.
Honest-
It's fair.
Honestly, it's all fakes.
It's all fake science.
Yeah, it's really
Well,
fake,
yeah,
so.
I know that.
Anyway, so the Grisks were captured, and as part of that, Thrawn is trying to discover more about them, and it is clear that Thrawn has theories about these Force sensitives that the Grisks have and why they have them that he is not telling Vader yet, and Vader is frustrated by that. So where we're at right now is they're going back to Mokiv. They have dealt with many of the Grisks, including
Attempted prison break that they kind of orchestrated.
an attempted orchestrated prison break that went wrong.
LOL, just
try
stormtroopers
and, like, track
finally
them.
doing one thing correctly, but
But the wrong time.
the wrong
Yes.
time. I love it.
Yeah. And so now basically we're going to Mokiv to figure out if Thrawn is right and figure out once and for all what's going on.
Yep.
Okay, that was helpful. Thank you, Dad.
You're welcome.
So I think part of the reason why people get frustrated with Thrawn and also possibly with this book, because I know that I think most people like this book, but I think there was a pretty vocal subset of people who did not. And we'll talk more next episode about why that frustrates me. But for this episode, focusing on writing style, I think that what you were saying, Chris, about you're not really sure what you're already supposed to know and what has yet to be revealed. I kind of mirrors how Thrawn's brain works, because as you read, you kind of see him working through his process of deduction, but he doesn't know, like, he has to, like, go through all of these details before he can come to a solid conclusion. So he doesn't like just blurting out theories or anything like that. Like, I feel like the average bear would be like, I wonder if this is happening, or maybe it's this, or maybe it's this. And you actually see that in Padme when she's, like, in the factory, and she's like, I wonder if they're making this here, or I wonder if it's just a mining operation, or I wonder if it's this. Thrawn doesn't do that.
Yeah.
You never hear what he thinks things are until he has suspicions, and then he collects information, and he'll tell you about the information, and then once he goes through all the data points, he will tell you what he thinks. And so the writing itself kind of does that with the story itself. It tells you a bunch of things, but doesn't necessarily connect it and weave it into what you would think is a conclusion you can follow, until it gets to the point where the story kind of forces itself to reveal what is actually happening. Which is a cool trick, kind of, because, like, you're kind of, the reader too is kind of a disciple of Thrawn's. Like, he genuinely enjoys teaching people how to use his deductive reasoning process and leading people through thinking in this way. But you feel probably just as frustrated as Commodore Farrow does at the end of the bit that we read, where he asks her a question. She's like, "How am I supposed to know the answer to that?"
Yeah. And
she's, like, freaking out and panicking. And when I was reading for today, there was that bit of the book where Kimmond and his dudes are going through the hyperspace lane in Vader's disguised ship, the Darkhawk, and what they're trying to do is they're trying to find the next gravity well, and they suspect, and Chris had to explain this to me, but because they suspected that once they were pulled out of hyperspace, that they would probably be plundered by Grisk pirates, because that's essentially what they are. They're trafficking beings and other valuable shit, I guess.
Yeah. Marauders is the term that is used.
Yes. Huh?
I said icky.
Yes, very icky. But yeah, so that was, like, happening, and, Thrawn's describing the action, everything's happening. I'm just like, what are they doing right now? And literally, I was sitting there asking Chris, and Chris was like, I don't really remember, and he has to, like, reread the section. And then literally 2 paragraphs later, if I just kept reading, Thrawn explains what's going on, and I'm like, oh, right. So it's, every time you read a book, it's kind of like you're taking a leap of faith, right? You're trusting that the author has put together a story that is comprehensible and enjoyable, and that you're going to enjoy the ride, and you just kind of have to trust that. And this is maybe a bigger leap of faith for some readers than for others, especially if you don't really read mysteries, I feel like, or if you are not a chiss and you like, pondiferating or whatever the fuck on theories as you go along. Thrawn doesn't do that, because his mind, as Vader and Anakin always say, very orderly.
Yeah.
Very neat.
Yeah, I have a couple things on this. So one, I feel like it's interesting because, and I was actually talking about this in the Tashi Station Patreon Slack channel, where if you become a Patreon patron for the Tashi Station Radio Network at the $1 level, you get access to a group Slack channel, which is really fun, and you should all become patrons.
And there are corgi pictures.
And there's corgi pictures. It's great.
Yes.
But we were talking about that because I recently finished reading the old Thrawn trilogy, the original trilogy, which I think for all intents and purposes is kind of credited with kicking off the EU in a big way. It wasn't the first EU book, but it was kind of what put it on the map. And what I said in the Slack was, I love...
you wanted to get roasted, is what you said.
Yeah, right.
It was January 2nd, he said, and he goes into Slack, and he's like, I don't love the original Thrawn.
No, that's not what I said. What I said was,
okay,
I love Thrawn in the new canon. I love his character. I did not like his character in the original Thrawn trilogy.
Because you wanted to get roasted on January 2nd of 2019.
Right, but like I did not like his character. And one thing
it's a valid point. Just give me
that Brian Larson, who is our podfather, founder of the Tashi Station Radio Network, pointed out is that those books are not from Thrawn's point of view. Like, at no point are those books from Thrawn's point of view. They're from Captain Pellion's point of view, who's kind of the Eli of that series. They're from other people's point of view, but they're from Thrawn's underlings. So you never get to see inside Thrawn's brain. So it's very much like Kate was saying, it's kind of that annoying, like, you don't get to go through how he gets there. You just see him figuring things out, and like you just are along for the ride whether you like it or not.
Oh, that would be so frustrating. I haven't read them, so that
Me
if
neither.
that would be so frustrating for me.
Yeah, and that's why I didn't like him. And like and it's interesting because like you can tell that people in the Empire don't necessarily like him for that same reason, and so it's an interesting reading experience.
Right. I mean, we see the same thing in the new series of books, but because it is really helpful to have those like bits from Thrawn's point of view where in italics you see him like, this is how my brain works, so then you can yeah
Absolutely. And then also comparing it to the first Thrawn novel of the new canon, it's interesting because I feel like this book does a better job of doing that more spelling out that more deductive reasoning of how Thrawn is doing it. Because I remember one thing that we had some issues with when we read Thrawn last year at some point was that there were some things that didn't always make sense, that like just didn't always make sense to us. Like it had to be like very spelled out for us to get it. And two, it didn't feel like there was a huge difference, at least to me, between like the Thrawn arc and the Price arc, where like she was figuring out things in the same way, and it was just kind of weird. Like thinking back to the Higher Skies conspiracy, that always kind of bugged me.
It's almost like Tim Zahn, like other artists, is growing as a writer as he continues to do his craft.
How dare
Yeah,
you?
absolutely. And that I think is a slightly different conversation, but I agree with it.
Yeah.
But which is all to say that like it is an interesting way to read this book, because I think, as you said, a lot of people liked it, some people didn't. In my experience of the people who I've talked to, people who didn't like it are universally people who don't like Thrawn as a character. Which is, you know, you can like or dislike any character you want. But if you don't like Thrawn as a character, then like this Sherlock Holmes aspect of reading this book is going to annoy the shit out of you, because it's just him figuring things out. Like, if you like his character or are ambivalent on his character, then you can get much more into the story and go along for the ride. But it's such a unique way of writing that is so true to this specific character that it does, it gets a little confusing sometimes, because Thrawn is confusing to humans. That's just how it is.
Right, totally.
Right, he's supposed to be.
Exactly.
And just to step back for 2 seconds to the what do we call it? The extended universe?
Legends,
That's
yeah.
Legend. Okay, I don't know which one's correct. Sorry.
It's Legends.
It is technically Legends. I referred to it as the EU there because I was wrong.
Okay. Legends.
It's Legends.
The Thrawn Legends stuff that I haven't read. I mean, just as like an outside person who really is someone who obviously loves Thrawn's character, and has always been a Thrawn stan. I mean, if I had the choice between knowing and seeing inside of his brain and watching him work through things and not, I would choose seeing him work through things, because that's, I think, one of the most interesting parts of him as a character, like in the novels as well as like in Rebels.
Totally. Absolutely.
Yeah, I really...
Not to defend Chris, but
I know. How dare you, Kristen? No, looking back at how Thrawn was originally written and now looking at how he is in the new canon, I really appreciate what they did with him in Rebels and making him much more accessible. And I feel like it's almost the benefit of having a moron like Constantine under him in Rebels, because he had to explain everything.
Right. I mean,
Which, like,
it's kind of what he was
for
there
better or worse, as the viewer, we're Constantine.
Yeah, no, absolutely. The other thing that this book does that I kind of that I like about it is that I'm kind of jumping around a little bit here, but
good thing is, Kate, it's our podcast. You can do whatever the fuck you want.
so I can. One of the things that is like very explicitly pointed out that's like not really done in the first book, which kind of makes sense too, because it's Thrawn kind of rising through the ranks and becoming who he is.
Yeah.
But one of the things is that in one of the later sections in the the bit that we read for this week, Kimmond, who is, the commander of this unit of the First Legion that has accompanied Vader on this mission, when he initially steps into the Chimera, he thinks Thrawn is, he thinks Thrawn is annoying, he thinks he's pedantic, like, he kind of, it's kind of similar to how Vader sees him, in that he just kind of assumes the worst of him, and assumes that, he thinks he's smarter than everybody, and he thinks he's better than everybody. But what he comes to understand as he continues to work with Thrawn and his crew is that they respect the shit out of him, and they're really loyal to him because he's loyal to them. Like, I think, seeing things from Thrawn's point of view, and then also probably just getting a wide array of reactions to him, as we do in the two new canon Thrawn books, I think it just makes his character so much more three-dimensional. He's not just like, I like puzzles. Like, he's like, he cares about his people, and it's like, he doesn't look down on them or anything like that. Like, I think people are like stuck on this idea that Thrawn is like perfect, and he thinks he's perfect, or he knows he's perfect, or whatever it is, and that's just not supported by the text. It's not supported by anything.
It is supported by legends.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Interesting.
But that's not.
But yes, I agree with you.
What's happening?
That is not current Thrawn. You're right.
That is not what's happening. So I don't know.
That's interesting.
Like, I think maybe like I again, I haven't read the original Thrawn books, so without having that in the back of my head, I'm frustrated by people reacting that way. But maybe I wouldn't be if I had. But it does drive me bonkers.
Yeah, that's fair.
Just like as a person who reads books and has been taught to pull books apart, I'm just like, where's the evidence for you hating this man on this basis?
Yeah.
It makes me so angry.
Yeah.
But anyway. Oh, it's snowing.
I also
Did it start? Hey.
Oh, hey, snow. I also think that there's like another shade of that, Kate, which is like when we hear what's the lead guy on Vader's Stormtrooper boys?
Commander Kimmond.
Commander Kimmond. When we hear Kimmond like reflecting on Thrawn and like what kind of a leader he is, when he finally comes around, it's like we as readers and as consumers of Star Wars are like, wow, this makes Thrawn like very much a good leader, like objectively. Right? These are not characteristics that we're used to seeing in people higher up in the Empire. We're used to them being backstabbing and blah 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 and not listening to their subordinates, and if you're Vader, just killing everybody for reasons and things. But
or not reasons.
or for any real anything. But I mean, when you hear Kim describe like Thrawn's leadership style, and he's like, the fucking Navy would do well to adopt some of this. It seems to be working really well. I mean, it's just like you, especially as like whatever. I work in HR, so I actually like think a lot about leadership and leading organizations and things like that. I was like, yeah, he's like literally doing everything that he's supposed to do as a leader, and that's just in weird discord with but he is part of the Empire.
Yeah.
So
totally.
I think that's like a new kind of thing in Star Wars that, I mean, I feel like this is kind of the first time we've seen that, which I think is also something that fucks with people's heads when they're thinking about Thrawn.
Yeah, I think so too. And it's interesting to, compare Thrawn to some of the leaders that we see, the Imperial leadership that's left over in Aftermath, right? Like, completely different.
Yeah.
I mean, with the exception of Sloane, who actually does inspire loyalty because she's actually a competent human being. Everybody else, hot mess express.
Which is why, let's hope that Thrawn and Sloane meet up at some point.
Arr! That would make my life.
There's no reason it can't happen. Yes, all of this is true. I think we're going to have a lot more to talk about this as we continue the book.
Yeah.
So I think we can talk a little bit more about plot for now.
Yeah.
But like next episode, and particularly in our wrap up, I think these are going to be very extensive questions.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of these questions are going to extend to Treason that comes out this July.
Probably, yeah. And, like, I mean, leadership styles is a thing that I do want to talk about, so Keeks, get ready for next episode.
I
I'm
mean,
very
speaking
excited.
of leadership styles, the whole premise of Treason is Thrawn versus Krennic, and, like, Jesus Christ. I can already imagine what a shit show that's going to be.
Oh, I'm excited.
All right. Anyway, so I'll start this next point just because it's, again, like somewhat explanatory. This book is really interesting to me as somebody who like has long said like I want to see what else is out there, and I want to see the wider universe, but not the expanded universe.
I hate you.
Because we get our first real look into the unknown regions.
Yeah, thank Glob, finally.
Yeah, like basically all the casual Star Wars fan, to use a maligned term, knows about the unknown regions is that Snoke is from there. And if they've been paying attention,
Snoke pooped here.
Snoke pooped in the unknown regions. Very likely. Very likely. I mean, we haven't seen it in canon, but very likely. And if they've, been reading some of the other side material, they know that the First Order, like, hid and developed there. That's pretty much all we know about the unknown regions. And we learn more here. We learn that first there's these two other races of aliens that are not native to the Empire part of the galaxy, in the Darshi and the Grisks. And two, we know that the Force exists there because we have these Force-sensitive beings, and A, like the Grisks and the Darshi know about them in some way, shape, or form, and B, Thrawn knows about them. And I don't know, that's just interesting to me to see these new actors in a way that we haven't seen them before. Particularly, the Grisks are like the main point here, but the Darshi are really interesting too because they're very much supporting cast.
Yeah, I think part of it is like why I was so confused is we're very much focused on these beings and types of beings that I've never heard of, and I'm like I don't know what to do. They're not, and like it's unknown beings that are fitting into like an unknown world from like a Star Wars perspective. So I'm like, I feel very not rooted. Someone help me understand what's happening.
Yeah.
I mean, Vader feels the same way though.
Yeah,
He's
I was
just
going
like,
to say that I think is intentional.
Who or what is this fucking shit? So yeah, no,
Who is this Klingon-looking motherfucker?
right. Nice, but yeah, no.
Mixing fandoms.
Do it, Chris.
we don't do
Don't
this.
apologize.
No. Speaking of no, let's talk about Padme.
Right? I guess we'll have more to talk about the Force.
Yeah,
There's more to talk about the Force, but I think it's going to have to wait till the next episode.
I don't know what I don't know what to say besides the fact that once again, Force sensitive beings are being human trafficked because
Bad.
Star Wars. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Indeed.
And human trafficking is bad. It was actually well, we don't know if they're humans, but
I was going
it
to say, we actually don't know if they're humans, right?
They're being trafficked.
yes, but it was legitimately Human Trafficking Awareness Day, like this past week. So.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. So
Yeah, shit's bad.
shit is bad. Read up on that crap. Slavery still exists. It is very, very bad. I know. On that note,
Yeah.
we shall
Uplifting
scuttle
as
along.
always. Our side
Always.
notes in
Let
the
us
Book Wars pod.
scuttle.
Yes.
Am I starting this next one?
I can start this next one.
Okay. I was. Who talks first? Do you talk first? I talk first. Nailed it.
It's very hard to understand you with all the apparatus.
I actually went to the orthodontist on Friday, and they rescanned my teeth to check progress, and they probably gonna have to make me a second set of trays. Things they don't tell you when you start Invisalign. There's more than one set of trays that you have to go through probably. Anyway, so while I'm waiting for them to like look at my fucking teeth scans and then probably make me more trays, I'm just kind of hanging out. Because that could take up to 3 weeks. So I have nothing in my mouth right now. I have no trays. I have no rubber bands. I can say Death Star without lisping, and I'm really excited. So, yay.
It's too bad we're not reading Catalyst right now.
Yeah, I know, right? Death Star was me the entire time.
Yep.
Yeah, it was terrible. Not to make fun of people with like actual lisps, but like It was
No, this has
frustrating.
been a running bit on our podcast.
This is
Like, we've
frustrating.
noted this before.
No, it's just frustrating. Anyway, Padme. So,
Padme.
yeah, so Padme is off alone, using her own her own skills to stake out this weird factory shit going on how are we saying?
It's Mokiv.
We just ignored the J.
Yes, the J is silent.
How do you know this?
Tom at Darth and Turnus actually said it in the Tasha Station Radio Patreon Slack
Oh,
when
did
this
he?
book came out.
Thank you. That's
I think he might have said it on Twitter, but I think it was the Slack. See, more reasons for you to join.
Thanks, Tom. You're so helpful.
Thanks, Tom.
I hate pronouncing things wrong because when I was growing up, I had a bunch of I grew up in New York, obviously, with a bunch of people who didn't have white bread names, and so all the white people teachers would just pronounce their names wrong, and I'm like, it's not that fucking hard.
I'm sorry, it's Kyle.
Oh, Jesus. But anyway, it drove me crazy. So now I hate pronouncing names of things wrong. It's just I mean, I should be mad about that. It's disrespectful. But
Yes.
anyway, what?
I will also say it's just funny because Tim Zahn has a history and reputation in his Legends books of just inserting random letters into words, and it's just how the fuck do I say this?
That's so funny.
And so I remember when this book came out, because the original Thrawn novel in the first canon Thrawn novel, everything is fairly phonetic, I would say. And then I remember in this one, a few days after it came out, I think it was 1138, just posts a screenshot of Mokiv, and he's like, there it is.
That's good. That's very good trolling. 10 out of 10.
Right.
That's amazing. Anywho, so Padme's on Mokiv, trying to stake out this factory and using her own skills. And Keeks, I know you wanted to talk about Padme being peak Padme, so I'm gonna let you take that away.
Thank you. So she's I don't remember why she's crash landing, but she's kind of crash landing. Some shit got fucked up on the ship. Why
Because
is she
Viper
crash
droids from
landing?
the factory.
Sure. Things and stuff. So she's okay, what can I do to not get fucked up by all of these vulture droids? Is that right?
Correct.
Great.
Viper droids. Vulture droids.
Vulture droids.
My bad.
Great.
Viper droids are just, because I know where you're getting that, they're the
They're the
drones
ones
from
in-
Solo.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I've been picturing vulture droids like viper droids, so that sounds wrong, but I'll look them up
Whatever.
later.
Bad flying robots.
Bad flying clankers.
Yes.
Because we're in that era, so I can say that. So somehow what she lands on is I'm gonna take an escape pod and I'm gonna use the thrusters just a tiny bit so that no one really notices me, and I'm gonna land it right in the water, and then I'm gonna open it so that I sink. But not to kill myself, but to float, but be neutral buoyant. Okay, great. Why is that your plan? I understand that you are married to someone who has bad plans, but did he make that up? Did he plant that in your? I mean, it worked, but also not a great plan.
I mean, to be fair, if you rewatched Phantom Menace recently, Padme doesn't have great plans. She just doesn't. And granted, in that movie, she's 14 years old, so planning is not great with her, and that's understandable. But we've also got the beginning of Attack of the Clones, where she is inviting the creepy poison millipedes into her bedroom, basically, so she can figure out who the fuck is trying to kill her by almost getting killed. Not great plans.
Oh, it's
Not
interesting. I'm
great.
totally going to disagree with you, too.
Okay.
Great.
I love it because she is just so the opposite of Anakin in this way. Because, if Anakin was in that escape pod, he would have, sliced through the window while he was still in atmosphere.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
He would have... tried to force jump onto a vulture droid and, ride it around the planet.
No, No, you're true. Padme's about flying under the radar, whereas Anakin just breaks the radar.
Exactly. No, that's
Yeah.
that's exactly right. Because like her
fair.
plan is to do as little as possible and to lay low and to think and figure things out. Whereas Anakin is always, and we see this in the movie and we see this a lot in this book, Anakin is always, I'm going to go scout out and see what I can find. Whereas like Padme is like, I'm going to wait and see what comes to me. And like then we're going to like think about this and figure it out.
It's true. No, Padme's like kind of like passively active, whereas Anakin is actively Leroy Jenkins.
Yep. That's
God, fucking Anakin.
Leroy Jenkins isn't a style, Anakin.
Like,
God damn it. Sorry, I
Like-
had some tweets about this week, and that I love and hate Anakin. I love this book because Anakin is my favorite character, and this book is just so perfectly Anakin. But just god damn it.
Chapter 10, y'all. Jesus Lord. Anyway,
yeah, it's a
go
lot. No, I mean fair, but I still feel like it's a very like it's just like a fucking harebrained scheme. I feel like she's like, I'm just gonna live in this thing that's half full of water for a while and hope everything's fine. But obviously I know that Anakin would not have taken the quiet approach because he doesn't know what that is. Has he ever actually used the element of surprise successfully?
on. What a great question.
Because we see him try to do that
Yeah,
a
definitely.
lot in the Clone Wars cartoon.
Yeah, like he always tries, but it doesn't work. Like he
In
like
the movies, definitely not.
yeah, I mean
um,
he always tries, but then he like gets inside, so he like gets past stage 1 and he's like, fuck it, lightsaber on.
we're doing it live.
Yeah. Like the only thing I can really think of is when they're trying to break into the Citadel in that arc, and they like use freezing themselves in carbonite as like the way to get
Oh,
onto
yeah.
the Citadel to like
Yeah.
avoid.
Except for
sensors?
like he literally has no choice but to be passive in that situation.
Yeah, it's like he got through step 1 and then he like very quickly like outed himself and had to fight his way out. He is. I think you're right, Keeks. I don't think he has ever successfully completed a stealth mission.
This just means I need to watch Clone Wars again. I want to
know,
do that
right?
anyway, but I say that every day.
Stealth is not his strong suit.
Well, somebody gave him a lightsaber, so
That's
It's
true. I mean, I
so true.
said on Twitter this week, somewhere in that galaxy, Obi-Wan has a migraine and he doesn't know why.
oh, that's so good. Where's the lie, though?
Oh God. Yes. But we do see Padme having plenty of agency. Finally, somebody has given her agency in the section of the book. So, I think Thrawn really drew, I feel like, his inspiration for his characterization of Padme from her, like, hopping into a ship to go to Geonosis to, like, save Obi-Wan, and then, like, just, like, getting herself out of her, like, chains, like, in the arena on Geonosis, and just, like, figuring it out herself instead of waiting for the Jedi to, like, I don't know, rescue her. Like, she's definitely not a damsel in distress in that movie, which is what makes Revenge of the Sith so fucking disappointing.
Yeah.
But we like those are the same skills that she's using here. Like she's like, all right, here are all the different ways that I could escape if I wanted to. Here are all the different ways that I can talk myself out of the situation if I wanted to. Like those are her skills. Like she has 10 different plans for everything. She's a people person and she knows how to use that to her advantage. And she's just really fucking smart.
She's such a good spy.
Yeah.
This is part of the reason I'm so excited. So, for those listening to this, the first arcs of Queen Shadow by E.K. Johnston went out this week, and so we're starting
And
to
by
get...
arcs, we mean advanced reader copies.
Yes, thank you. Advanced reader copies. And so we're getting our first reaction, not full reviews, but reactions about that book, which comes out in about a month and a half. And they have been extremely positive so far. And so I'm hoping we get more of this. But, like, she's a spy. And I love it because, like, even in this, like, there are parts of this book where she is just waiting around. But, like, she's not waiting around to be rescued. She's waiting around because waiting around is the right move.
Right.
And, like, she is planning. She's like examining her surroundings. Like we see her like make her way into the factory and then like wait around, and then she sees the lightsaber and she's like, all right, it's go time.
She sees the lightsaber and she's like, there is only one dumb motherfucker who could have pulled this off, and that's my husband.
I mean, she did
Yup.
recognize his style.
Oh my fucking god, I know.
God.
These two dummies deserve each other.
Also, so Chris, I know you mentioned last time that you really, really wanted to talk about how Padme is 100 double underline percent Leia's mom in this book, and so I'm gonna let you wax poetic about that.
Yeah, we haven't gotten a lot of that so far.
Yeah.
Because, like, you know, we've talked many times about how Leia is Anakin's daughter.
Yes.
Like, which... Oh, wait, still accurate.
Yes.
Like, you know who else would do a random-ass, like, shitty plane like this? Leia would, but and it would work out.
No. Have you met Luke?
I mean,
Yo.
yeah, Luke would do it without thinking it through.
That's true.
Hashtag useless twink, sorry. God.
But we see the Leia in Padme, or rather we see the Padme, like, that will create Leia in this book, because you have this, like, her, like, extremely qualified, and even though Leia is more hot-headed because she has that Anakin, that Skywalker blood in her, like, she thinks things through and she plots and plans from every angle, and that is not something that she gets from Anakin.
No, definitely not. She's
Using her
definitely-
brain.
Yes. Unlike Luke Skywalker walking into Jabba's palace being like, here's some droids. I guess I'll go to prison now.
Yeah, honestly,
KK.
Luke is, and this is not relevant to this book, but like really the only thing that Luke got from Anakin is his gender and his lightsaber, and other than that, he is Padme's soft baby.
Yeah.
I
well,
guess also his like a little bit of his anger,
Yeah.
but
And
like
his-
Leia is very much the product of her parents.
Well, no, Luke also gets, like, Anakin's, like, desire to do anything for people he loves at all costs until he learns better.
That's true. He does. Yeah, that's absolutely true.
Yeah. And he kind of...
and to a certain extent, he gets his Leroy Jenkins too.
And
To a certain extent, have you seen the two-finger salute?
and also hiding his lightsaber inside of R2D2.
Yes.
Yes.
He did get that. I did note
That is
I
a
did note
family runs
Family
in the
tradition.
family.
I sure giggled at that. But yeah, no. They're like no. The Space Twins lean a little bit more one way than the other, but no, they are definitely their parents' children, 100%.
But yeah, and like we don't see Leia in an espionage role as much. I think just because she's such a recognizable figure, it's hard for her to
Yeah.
be a spy.
She has been from like day one, like
Yeah, exactly.
because of who Bale is.
Exactly, and just because of who she who she is in pop culture, too. Like
Sure.
everybody in the quote unquote real world knows who Princess Leia is, and so it makes sense
In
that
the
everybody.
quote unquote real world,
And
we
so-
are living in the Matrix, and
I
Blah,
mean,
blah, blah.
it's. I say again, somewhere on Earth too, things are going great.
nice.
But like, so it makes sense that everybody in the galaxy far, far away would too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she is one of those characters that just everybody fucking knows.
For sure.
But like we don't see her do espionage, but like her combat plans are very much like Padme's espionage. Like with Padme, like thinking through, like this is what I can do myself. This is what I'm going to wait for. Let's like it's planned out. Let's do this. Whereas Leia is like, all right, like I am going to like. I'm struggling to think of a good example, but like she has that leadership aspect and that planning aspect to her.
Right. I mean, I'll say this about the Space Twins. They made Leia a general. Luke was a commander.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all I'm gonna say about that.
Absolutely.
Speaking of Leroy Jenkins, do we want to talk about Anakin some more?
Oh, do I?
Oh,
I've
Jesus.
been waiting for this since this book fucking came out. I've been waiting for this conversation.
Christ in heaven. Yes.
The moral of this book, and there's more in the next section, but the moral of this book is that Anakin Skywalker's insecurity is undefeated.
Oh God, is it ever?
No.
He is just so Anakin, because like even when he's Vader, the biggest feeling that you get from him is that he thinks Thrawn is being condescending, and he feels the need to assert his authority and show that he figured out Thrawn's little scheme, and like be like he's even like, I remember he used to think the Jedi was stupid too. I'll show him. Like,
I mean, like, a lot of characters find Thrawn condescending, but he
takes it to the nth degree.
Because he is Anakin.
Because he's Anakin. Like, and he just like feels he's caught between a rock and a hard place because he feels the need to assert his dominance because that is how he has always dealt with his insecurity for his whole life.
Yep.
It's like he wanted to become the best Jedi because he felt inferior because he started training too late. He wanted to, like, he fell to the dark side because he wanted more power. Like, that is, being in charge has always been how Anakin handled problems. And, like, he wants to do that here, but he also can't. Because he can't...
Are you putting handled in quotes?
What do you mean?
Because I don't really think he ever really handled problems.
Oh, it's...
How he addressed problems.
Yes, that's a better term, yes. How he addressed
You're
problems.
so right, Keith.
Like, since when was he ever handling problems? He
That's
just gets
very true.
upset and force chokes people.
I
Yeah.
know. Well, speaking of choking people, here's my question for you, Chris, as our resident Anakin expert. Anakin person, you dress up as Anakin, so like,
Stanakin, if you will.
Fuck. That's horrible. Thanks, I hate it. Okay, I'm just gonna move past it. Otherwise, I'll be sitting here like screaming into a bag for half an hour. But so Anakin constantly thinks these things of Thrawn. He thinks that, besides his like quote unquote personal problems with him, like he thinks that Thrawn is not necessarily loyal to the Empire or loyal to the Emperor. And of course, Anakin as Vader, like, will blindly do anything the Emperor tells him, like super obedient, like unquestioning, unfailing, and everything. So why doesn't he just choke Thrawn out?
That's a great question. And it gets back at the heart of that insecurity, and more than that, at the fear that Anakin has had for his entire life.
Okay.
Because Anakin is on this mission under direct orders from Palpatine.
From Daddy.
From Daddy Palps.
Yep.
Daddy.
Mm-hmm.
That is why he's on this mission. And usually when he's on a mission, it's just like he's a weapon. Like it is kill something or hunt this Jedi or fuck something up, like destroy this planet, whatever.
Right, because that's what he like.
That is what he's good at.
Right, and it's kind of like what I said last episode. Like Vader is just pure anger, and you point him at something, you tell him to kill it.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
But that's not the mission this time.
Mm-hmm.
And so Anakin, as much as he wants to assert himself, he is not in his element in this book.
That's absolutely true.
And
I was gonna like one of the things like non sequiturs I wanted to like point out is that Vader in this book talks so much more than he ever has in any other medium I've ever seen him in. He talks a lot. He never talks.
I mean, Anakin talked when he was nervous too. He's got some
he
Han
is.
Solo in him like that.
Blah, blah, blah.
Kristen.
But so like I was saying, he's caught between this rock and this hard place because he's very uncomfortable and he's like, he has this fear of messing up, I think, internally. This is how I'm reading into it. And if readers disagree, I would please let us know because I want to talk more about it. But I think he has this fear that he doesn't know what he's doing. And that is like making him afraid. But his devotion to the Emperor is absolute. And we see that time and again in this because I think the only reason he is not choking Thrawn out is because he says, like, the Emperor still finds him useful. That's never stopped him from killing anyone before. He killed Admiral Ozzel. Admiral Ozzel was the head of the fleet in Empire Strikes Back. And one would think that the Emperor had use for him. Didn't matter. He got force choked out.
I mean, I'm just thinking about, I like the bit where Kimon is like, he's like the fourth commander that this unit has had in 2 years, and I'm just thinking about him in Empire, just one guy after another.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dead.
It's not a job that you want,
Right.
to be perfectly honest, to be Vader's underling.
Right.
But so he is caught between this rock and this hard place because he needs to succeed and is afraid that he won't succeed, but he also needs to listen to Palpatine, and Palpatine is telling him to work with Thrawn. and he's so afraid of and devoted to Palpatine that he can't reconcile the two in his head. And so that's why he's like kind of frozen by indecision and like can't kill Thrawn.
Anakin frozen by indecision?
I know.
What?
Shocking. To that point, why do you both think he is so afraid that Thrawn knows who he is?
Because nobody fucking knows who he is except for the music box thing later.
Yes. I mean, yes, because nobody knows, but like, why do you think it's such a big deal?
Because he wants to be dead. He wants Anakin to be dead. And as long as people remember that Anakin existed, Anakin stays alive. Like, that's why he wanted to kill Ahsoka so bad in Rebels. Because, like, he thinks, first of all, she knows deeply who he is, and he feels like she betrayed Anakin to make him into what he is now. So, yeah.
I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
I think this book is one of the best examples that we have in the canon outside of the Marvel comics, which it's unfortunate because they do an absolutely fantastic job with Vader, and we're not reading them because Marvel is a garbage company.
For more, use Google.
Yeah. But this is the best example that we have of Vader's mindset during his peak period. Like, I think it's fair to say he is at the height of his powers at this point. Like,
right.
This is 2 years before the Battle of Yavin.
This is about to be Rogue One stuff happening,
Yeah.
Again, like, about 2 years.
Yeah, 2 years before Rogue One. So it's 17 years after Mustafar. He knows what he's doing. He has led invasions. He has conquered planets.
He's powerful. He's not as conflicted as he becomes when he finds out that Luke exists.
Yeah, like he is as powerful and clear-headed as he ever is, I think it's fair to say. And yet he is still, after all this time, struggling with the memory of being Anakin. Like, talking about, he can't even say Anakin's name, the Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
we talked about that last episode.
We did. Anakin Skywalker is dead.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he
just
can't
over and over and over and over and over again.
Yeah, literally, Thrawn's just like, so Anakin's dead. Okay, but dead. He's dead. And he was definitely not fucking Padme.
Yep.
And he's not, and I don't know him intimately. We are not the same.
Yeah.
I don't know her.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But yeah, and he's so afraid of admitting to himself because it is this big secret. And I think he justifies it to himself with, it's a secret to the Emperor. And that's also kind of something I want to talk about a little later maybe on the wrap up. Like, why is it a secret that he's Anakin? Because the Emperor could have just told people.
Oh, yeah.
So that's something I want to talk about on the wrap up. But like, he is afraid of what he's become because like he cannot truly reconcile in his head that is who he used to be. Like, it's very,
you were the chosen one.
yeah, it's very like, I think this is actually a Kylo Ren line, if I'm remembering correctly, from Force Awakens, but he was weak and foolish and I destroyed him.
Yep. Correct.
Blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Kristen.
What?
Very appropriate, thank you. And so it's just interesting because like at the height of his because Vader like is painted as this monolith in popular culture, right? He is the height of evil. He's confidence. He will calmly and collectedly sit at a dinner table and wait for Han Solo to open a fucking door just so he can torture him.
And isn't that peak Skywalker atrocity?
I mean, yes, but like
They're
he's
so
not.
extra.
He is like
I know.
at the height of his power and of serving the Emperor for this long and having everything that he thought he wanted, he is still like raging and full of turmoil. Like he is afraid to actually like trust his feelings.
I mean, you're saying he's got everything he's ever wanted. No, he doesn't.
Well, yeah.
He doesn't have Padme.
Yeah.
So
She dead.
She's super dead because he did it. Because that's a whole nother thing we can talk about. But anyway, I mean, how much of that honestly like keeps him stuck in the past that he never, like all the things he wanted then are not the things he has now, honestly.
Yeah, and I think that's why he can't look back. I think that's why he has to make this clean mental break between himself and Anakin.
Right. Because perfectly honest, if it were me and this is what happened to me, I would just jump off a roof. Like, holy shit.
Yeah.
What?
And this is why
just like Okay.
Yeah, and honestly, and this is why I'll talk about the Marvel Comics only the first volume of the original Vader comic, only because we already covered it on this podcast. And we have this scene where Vader finds out that the pilot who destroyed the Death Star's name is Skywalker, and so obviously finds out that he has a son, and he is like calm and composed and angrier than he's ever been in his life and about to destroy a fucking Star Destroyer by himself. And he's like, this is the moment where like you see this change start to go from, like this absolutely devoted to the Emperor to like, join me and we can rule the galaxy. And like, because that is the moment where the dam breaks. Like, he's holding back all these feelings and memories of being Anakin, and the dam breaks, and he has something else to live for besides the Emperor.
I was supposed to say, like, he never thought before this that he would have a chance to go back.
Yeah.
And now he does. Because, I mean, we've talked about this before, like, all he ever wanted was Padme.
Yeah.
And, he doesn't know about Leia yet. Like, Luke is all he has.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, like, you see him struggling with that now because he doesn't have that reason. All he has is the Emperor. And it's, like, the dark side. We get there's a lot of subtext of, like, more understanding of how the dark side exactly fucks with you. But, like, we see the dark side twisting him and making him afraid and angry and, like, not fully in control of himself, I think it's fair to say. Because, like, all he has is this fear, and, like, this is how the dark side destroys you. Like, he has all the power that the dark side has given him, but he also has, Anakin's insecurity is undefeated because he never dealt with it.
Well, I don't want to give him more credit than he's due. I mean, I think he's as fully in control of himself as he ever has been, but he thinks he's not.
Oh, I agree. I mean, it's...
I know. Just the way you phrased that sounded like he had less agency than he actually does.
Oh,
to not be a dick.
That's fair. Absolutely.
Yeah, he sucks.
Yeah.
He sure does.
I'm just saying. Yeah, he sucks.
Keeks, we've been talking a lot this episode. Do you have anything you want to add on, like, literally anything?
I know you guys have been talking a lot this episode. I don't know. I got all my stuff out. I mean, in the beginning when I made you explain what the book was about to me. But but I mean, and just to even go back to that a little bit, because that's pretty much like the only thing. I mean, I don't have big thoughts and feelings. I don't think I will until we get to the end of the book. Just because that's kind of how my brain works and processes things. But
yeah, for sure.
But what was I gonna say? Oh my god, I had something that I wanted to say. Holy shit, where did it go? I had too many beverages. Like coffee. Hold on. I'm thinking.
Sorry.
No. Fuck. Oh, I know what I was gonna say. Like, we're reading this for a podcast, right? This is very much a book that, if I didn't have to stop at chapter 13 and I didn't want to read it that way for the podcast like I usually do, I would have just like kept going. Like, I want to know more. I want to know what's happening. And I think also that's like part of why I don't have a ton, like, I haven't been thinking deeply about Vader and Thrawn necessarily, like, as much as you guys have, because I'm just like, I want to finish the fucking book. I want to see what happens, and then after that I can think about it. But all I can think about right now is how I don't understand what's going on, and I want to know the answer, and I know it's there because it's a book.
Yeah, no.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it's totally fair, and I think, that's Tim Zahn kind of... We've talked a little... I don't remember which episode numbers we read the first Thrawn book, but we talked about how Tim Zahn really likes to play with the genre and how, the first book has elements of horror in it, and I think this book does too, especially with the creepy cloning chambers and what we find out the Force disturbances and stuff like that. But like we keep saying, Thrawn is Sherlock Holmes. These are mysteries. Like, we want to solve the mystery.
Yeah.
Totally. Absolutely. First Thrawn, episodes 10 through 14.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
But yeah, we're going to talk more about Vader, but I think that's as good a place as any to end it. I could talk about Vader all day, but I should stop myself.
You can, but
literally all day. Kate can tell you.
Does anybody else besides Chris have anything to add?
No, I think we're good. I'm really excited for the next episode.
Me too.
Yeah, so our next episode is going to be finishing Thrawn Alliances by Timothy Zahn, reading chapter 14 through to the end of the book. In the meantime, you can hit us up on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, or Tumblr, BookWarsPod on all those platforms. Email us at bookwarspod@gmail.com, and rate, review, and subscribe to us and excuse me, and the Tashi Station Radio mega feed. When you leave a review for us, particularly on iTunes, we are very soon going to be doing a giveaway of for a paperback copy of the original Thrawn novel. So if you're listening to this,
The canon one,
the
not
canon one,
not
yes,
the Legends
not
ones.
not Heir to the Empire, Thrawn by Timothy Zahn. We're going to be doing a giveaway of that. So if you have joined late and you never listened to the Thrawn episodes and never really read that one because you just met Thrawn through Rebels or whatever, now's your chance. Or if you want to get somebody else into Thrawn and into reading Star Wars books, now's your chance. So leave us a review on iTunes and you will be automatically entered to win a copy of Thrawn. If it's not abundantly clear who you are from your review, then just DM us and tell us so that we can actually find you.
And one fun thing I want to add is that Thrawn is actually, like, reading the Thrawn books is actually a great way to get your older kids into the Star Wars, not movie media. My boss, his son, who is a sophomore in high school, started reading. He started with the original Legends Thrawn trilogy, and now he's reading the canon books. But he's a big Star Wars fan and a big nerd, but like he loves Thrawn. And like this is a kid who, he has a learning disability. He's not a big reader because of that, and like he can't stop reading these books. So even if you've already read it, like if you have like a nephew, a niece, a kid, like a friend's kid who like you think would enjoy this, like you should enter. Like,
Yeah.
do it.
Absolutely. Also, if you have the means and are so inclined, we'd love it if you could donate to the Tashi Station Radio Patreon. As we were talking about earlier on this episode, just a $1 a month patron level gets you access to the Tashi Station Radio Slack, which is a good time all the time. Also, please give us coffee at ko-fi.com/bookwarspod. We are about 60% of the way there to being able to create some pins and swag for Star Wars Celebration Chicago in April. So if you are so inclined, that'll really help us, create some fun stuff for people. And also, when me and Kate get a new rodent child, when we get a new hamster, we'll post pictures of him on the gram for everybody who gives us coffee. Thank you for listening. Our theme song is Whiz Bang by Poddington Bear. Our logo and artwork are by Joe Butera Design. Thank you, as always, for listening to the Book Wars Pod. For Kate and Kristen, I'm Chris, and we'll talk to you next week.
Bye.
Because it's Saturday. Same.
Okay. What do I need to turn down? Not that.